Hello, it is Monday, the 10th of August. My name's Alistair, and this is your market update from Stable. Sterling dollar is trading at 134.95, euro dollar 115.59, sterling euro at 116.72, US dollar a little bit softer as we've seen a recovery in some of the US indexes. Nasdaq is trading at just under 30,000 points, and the S&P is seeing a 6% rally in the last 10 days, putting it at 7,768. FTSE's back at or trading just under 11,000 points. That's an 8.5% gain since May, where price was stuck in a bit of a range around 10,000 points. We've got crude oil at $78.2 per barrel, so a little bit higher than last week. We had the Bank of England interest rate decision a few weeks back. It's the fifth consecutive meeting in a row where rates have been held. Only thing to note here is that there is a slight change in the voting pattern. We've got 6-3 to hold rates. The money markets are almost certain that there'll be a rate hike from the BOE later this year at some point in Q4, which will be tied back to where we are with inflation and the jobs market in the UK. But they also released a really interesting piece of research, which was specifically around AI productivity. It's a good article or a good piece of research. I'd recommend anyone to have a look at it if they are looking at ways that they can improve productivity through their business. But they've effectively said that software and IT consulting firms who potentially might have been at threat from the use of AI have seen their productivity increase by tenfold. From an economic data perspective, we've got Royal Bank of Australia rate decision tomorrow, expected to keep rates on hold at 4.35%. On Wednesday, we have German consumer price index. That's expected to be around 2.8%. We've also got US inflation on Wednesday. That is forecasted to drop slightly from 3.4% down from 3.5%. We'll also see the month-on-month and year-on-year changes, which exclude the food and energy costs. Thursday, we've got UK GDP figures. Markets looking for a 0.4% figure versus 0.6% in the prior quarter. And we also have the US purchase price index, excluding food and energy from the US, which will give us a year-on-year look. We also got Friday retail sales from America. So quite a bit happening this week from an economic data perspective. There was also a nice piece of, or a nice article from FinTech News talking about the first half, or wrapping up the first half of 2026 in terms of SME lending. So it's £21 billion provided to businesses across the first half of the year to invest in things like machinery, equipment, vehicles, and £13 billion of that came from non-bank lenders, which really highlights the diversification that we've seen in the UK with your tier one bank lenders and then the non-bank lenders working alongside them to create a competitive market. And then the only other thing to mention, we had the EasyJet acquisition from Apollo go through last week. There's already talks about how they will start to improve profit per customer. They're talking about premiumization, taking aim at business travelers, but that'll be a very, very interesting move. They're set to take on £3 billion of debt to take on this next phase of growth under Apollo. That's it from me, and we'll see you next week.